Alright, welcome back everyone to another Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 video. So in this video, I'm going to show you my gameplay experience from the Best Buy demo that is currently available. Well, it's only available for a couple days, so June 12th was the first day, which is when I got to play it. June 15th is the next day, so if you're watching before June 15th, you might be able to play this as well. I'll leave a link or links in the description so you can see if your Best Buy near you is participating, because only a few of them are, unfortunately. But basically, I'm going to go off the script and just kind of commentate over the gameplay and kind of tell you how I felt, if I enjoyed the gameplay, and different aspects about that. So, as you can see, we just saw the controller prompts, and probably the most notable thing to me is that there isn't a grab button in this one, which we had speculated would be the deal after listening to Game Informer's reporting that there was no grab button. So that is in fact the case. So it's going to be a lot harder to throw people off the roof, unfortunately. But I was still able to manage to throw people off of the roof, which you'll see later. So also thank you to the two guys that were playing the demo with me and my sister. I appreciate being able to show off some 4-player co-op. As you can see, since we are playing with 4 people, we didn't really swap out characters, so we're going to just go with the starter 4 here. Also, big reveal here is that Jessica Jones is in fact in the game, although she is an NPC, at least for now. I'm optimistic that maybe that'll change later on in the game. Hopefully she'll be unlockable, because it is a little bit depressing to not have that 4th person for the Defenders team. So we'll see what happens with her, but you can see there's a little bit of dialogue going on here. Basically, she's acting as our intel, and she's discussing how Kingpin now has the Infinity Stone, or an Infinity Stone, which we know is the Power Stone. So unfortunately, I don't have any audio to go with the gameplay, just because it was pretty loud in the Best Buy, people talking, and then music playing, because the TV section was right next to it. So I'm sorry, you'll have to bear with just me talking throughout this one, as is the case with all my videos. But as you can see, the combat is pretty fluid. It's pretty easy. For the demo, we had 2 abilities, the special abilities to start with. Currently, I'm playing as Wolverine, so I was a little bit more familiar with him. He's very quick with a lot of dashing and slashing attacks. Definitely, you can tell the differences in the gameplay styles, which is a good thing. You can see the guys playing as Thor and Star-Lord are much more mobile and a lot quicker than somebody like Wolverine. That comes into play. We've seen examples of that with that Juggernaut scene where you have to run away from Juggernaut. So as you can see, I'm trailing in the back. I'm a lot slower than them, but a lot more aggressive in the fighting style. As you can see, the cinematography really stands out as well, just this nice wide shot over the rooftops. I'm really enjoying how Team Ninja has been implementing the camera work. The next scene is not quite my favorite with it, just with the very high bird's eye view. It just becomes a little less personal, and it's a little bit harder to see your characters and keep track of them, even though they are silhouetted in that bright color. But luckily it doesn't last too long beyond this spotlight scene. The combat itself is, I'd say, a little bit different from the first 2 games. It's, but in a good way. It's more faster and more fluid. So you remember, like, from the first game, it was a little bit more, I'd say a little bit slower. Not that it wasn't fun, but this you can definitely tell is much quicker and explosive gameplay, like we had kind of expected, which I'm actually really enjoying here. You can definitely get a lot more out of the co-op, just with the different synergies. We didn't really utilize those in this, just because I think we jumped in. It was very quick. You know, there are people waiting behind us. So couldn't really waste a whole lot of time learning the buttons and all of that, so it's a lot of just messing around, unfortunately. But definitely you'll see later when we get to do the Ultimate Alliance Extreme attacks, they can become a lot more fun. So during this demo, I didn't really get to mess around with ISO 8 or any of the abilities or upgrades, or even explore that menu, unfortunately, just due to the time constraints that I had for the demo. But luckily, the Treehouse Part 2 demo that Nintendo's been doing for E3 That goes in way more depth for that, so I would recommend checking that out. I'll also be working on, some breakdowns and analysis of the Treehouse demos that we've received. So keep an eye out for that. I definitely will be talking about that because I know people have been requesting that most. But I kind of want to just quickly put this gameplay out there. Nothing too in depth, I know, but we haven't really gotten to see the Shadowland demo itself. So here we meet Jessica Jones again. And I know it's disappointing that she's an NPC, but at the very least, she is very Jessica Jones-like in these interactions. Really cool, really undercover. I don't know. She's what I would expect and what I would want from Jessica Jones out of this game. I'm still hoping that she will end up as playable. In fact, I would be very surprised if she didn't. But we can talk about that more another time as well. Also, right here, she's informing us that the rest of the defenders have gone inside to face the hand. She's the one that stayed behind. So we can expect, we'll see one defender here. The other two, Luke Cage and Daredevil, I'm sure we will find later on in the game as well when we finally get our hands on that. Although we haven't really seen too much of Luke Cage yet, but he is over the comms talking to Jessica Jones here, and we do get the confirmation that she and Luke Cage are in a relationship in this game, so I'm glad that they are keeping that going. So I should probably talk a little bit more about the combat since I haven't talked a whole lot about it, but it's very similar to the other games in that you have the light and heavy attacks and the special attacks. You can chain the light and heavy attacks into combo attacks, and those are really fun to do by themselves, so much so that I actually forgot to use my special attacks more because I was just using the basic attacks, which is good news. I would even go so far as to say that in my limited time playing this, I think the combat in this game is better than the other two. So I know that's a pretty crazy thing to say, but so far I'm liking it a lot. So here we get a pretty badass cutscene. I have watched this multiple times, and every time it's just as awesome. Iron Fist was the one I was most looking forward to play as, but he was not in this demo. I'll show a little bit later the roster screen for the demo, and it's pretty limited compared to what we've seen in E3. So I didn't get to try out a whole lot of characters later. So Iron Fist definitely very awesome in this cutscene. I know you can't hear any of the audio, but from the little bit that I could hear over their TV, the voice acting has been very good in these moments. Most notably, I would say Jessica Jones probably had the best voice acting work. It just seemed to really match. But yeah, now here is the big combat area where we get to finally try out some of the Ultimate Alliance extreme attacks and just overall different abilities. You can see Iron Fist is there as an NPC as well. You can see us leveling up a little bit up towards the top. Around this time was when we started to get some new abilities as well. So around, I think, maybe level 10, maybe level 11. And so we got to try those out a little bit. I believe Game Informer said abilities were about every 10 levels you would get a new ability. So this is probably just for demo purposes to have the full 3 there. So during the fights, you can still see that there are the little damage numbers and everything, all the different meters that we had been hearing about from Game Informer saying that it was a little too over the top. So, of course, we didn't really get to see the same prompts that they were, but as of right now, it didn't seem too overwhelming to me playing the game. I still would lose my character occasionally, so you may see me kind of off-screen doing some random stuff, but I think that just kind of happens when it's not in heroic mode. I don't know how avoidable that will be. But overall, it didn't detract from my experience at all. Yeah, so the numbers weren't too distracting. The meters, I think, were working fine. So everything on screen seemed to be working just fine. Even during the Alliance Extreme attacks, it wasn't too overwhelming to me. Also, earlier in the gameplay, I was trying out emotes a little bit, so, for those of you who are wondering if those were going to be cringy or stupid or over the top, they weren't bad from what I could tell. They were just kind of like, good job, or let's go, or, go get them. Just very simple things, so they weren't over the top. I probably won't use them very much, but, that wasn't a big deal. But yeah, as you can see, very quick demo. Just jumping in now to the roster screen from my other playthrough. This was actually my first playthrough. The one you just saw was my second. But this was just me and my sister playing, so we could mess around in the menus a little bit more. As we go through the menu a little bit, you can see the team bonuses to the top right kind of fluctuate. So as we're deciding what characters we want to use, it automatically starts to tell us what the different team bonuses could be. And like I said in the Treehouse demo part 2, we'll go a lot more in depth with that because they discuss it a lot more in depth there, and so will we. And as you can see, the roster is pretty bare for this demo. Not a whole lot of characters to choose from. I wanted to pick Venom and Black Panther just because I hadn't seen too much of them in any of the trailers or anything else really, so I just kind of want to experience their gameplay a little bit. And they're pretty much what you would expect. Both of them primarily a lot of slashing attacks from what I've unlocked. That includes Venom, so nothing too crazy from Venom for the early 2 abilities. Also, you may not want to use Venom for this part coming up where you talk to Jessica Jones, just because of the unfortunate error I made where his tongue is just all over her the whole time. So yeah, definitely be mindful of that when you approach this level. But as you can see right here, this is a little bit of an example of us knocking people off of the roof. I had just done that previously, and if you watch Deadpool off to the right, there we go, yep, knocks a few of them off as well. So you can definitely knock people off the roof again, you just can't grab them and throw them. So that's a little bit disappointing, but it's still pretty fun. As you can see, the extraction points are back again. We had originally thought it would be Lockjaw based on what I assumed Game Informer was saying was Lockjaw would be the extraction points. It may have just been a one-off, but as you can see, the extraction points are back and very useful, so you'll swap your characters out here. We get a little bit of the menu here for Black Panther, just me kind of checking some stuff out here, but like I said, we'll talk about that more in a later video, because there's definitely plenty to go over there. So I know I talked a lot about things that I really enjoyed in the demo, so if I did have to maybe say any kind of nitpicks or things that didn't flow so well during the demo itself, I would say probably this little gameplay clip here. You can see the camera gets stuck on that tower and we can't really rotate away from it in the group multiplayer, so it just becomes a little bit difficult to get around that and get everyone coordinated, so that was a little bit of a problem right there. Also, there's this part here where everybody gets in front of me and I get stuck behind a gate for a little bit. So eventually I make it out, but just little things like that can kind of slow down the pace of the gameplay. But other than that, I mean, those felt like pretty minor nitpicks and maybe little easy fixes. Other than that, I thought this demo was great. I had a ton of fun with it, and I'm really looking forward to play more of it. Thank goodness it's only July 19th that we have to wait until. So like I said, the demo was pretty quick. A lot of the more in-depth stuff I'm going to save and go over in the Treehouse demos, just because a lot of this stuff comes up in there too, and those are pretty long videos, so we'll definitely have a lot to talk about there. So you can expect that to be coming out. I know a lot of people have been requesting looks at the Treehouse demos, and then also for everyone interested in Avengers Project, I will be doing a breakdown of that E3 trailer as well. So definitely some stuff coming up. Also, thank you again to Ellie for another great idea to start a Discord group so we can talk a little bit more freely on there. I will have the Discord link to that group in the description here. Also, you can find me here on Twitter, so I will have that as well posted up at the top. I figure these will both be better methods of getting in touch with me or just chatting in general, or maybe I can send updates, or we can all update each other on news and information for the various Marvel games. It'll just be a little bit faster and you're not waiting on me to drop a video for that news. So I think overall that'll be better, more beneficial, and probably a lot more fun. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely check me out and we can talk on those. Otherwise, I am working on other videos. There's a lot for E3. I'm actually on vacation while all of this is going on, seeing family, so I apologize for being a little bit slower to get these uploaded, but I am working on those, and those will be out soon. And until then, I will see you in the next video.